Hello and Assalamu alaikum. My name is Samar Hasan and I'm the founder of Epiphany, which is a social enterprise that works with other social enterprises and impact startups in Pakistan. And today I'm extremely excited because this is going to be, I think, our sixth Impacting Lives session. So I kind of want to reiterate why I started Impacting Lives. And the idea behind Impacting Lives was simply that I wanted to help other people who are trying to jump onto trajectories of impact really understand how other people who are creating impact have gotten there. Was it by design? Was it by chance? What sort of choices did they make? Are they sustainable? Right. So a lot of times we hear people say, "Oh, okay, fine, yeah, sure, this is great. You're creating impact, but what about?" And it's very altruistic. But what about money? And of course, there's peer pressure as well. And another reason why I wanted to do this is because we've got Gen Z and the millennials who are extremely interested in creating meaningful lives for themselves and creating an impact in the world. So far we've been documenting stories of different success coaches, of different trainers, of a school that works with differently able children. And today I am extremely excited because I've got somebody who's a Pakistani like myself, who ended up going to the US and has, mashallah, made a huge mark for himself, and now he's been on this trajectory of impact for the last few years. He completed his master's in business management from Massachusetts Institute of Technology in a program that selects top 40 professionals from around the world. So he was lucky to land a place there. He worked for Tesla, and now, interestingly enough, he works for a company which supplies to Tesla. So somewhere in the middle, along the line, he started working with different startups, started coaching them, started offering advice to them, and helping them grow and scale up their business. And before he knew it, suddenly he was a coach. He was a success coach specifically for startups. So I'm going to, without much ado, welcome Raheel Bodla to the program tonight. Assalamu alaikum, or in the morning. It's early morning for you guys in the US.
Yes, good morning. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much, Samar, for having me here. It's such a great honor.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're really happy to have you.
Awesome.
Okay, so tell us about you. I just kind of did some mini introduction, but tell us about you yourself.
Right. So my name is Raheel Bodla. I'm a success coach for businesses and startups, and I'm based in Silicon Valley in California in US. And that's what I've been doing since last 1.5 year. And before that, it was a long journey. Can I share the slide here in terms of that pictorial journey? That's something a comment that I get is interesting for people.
Absolutely.
Share my slide.
I think you should be able to do that, right, from the bottom of the screen.
Yes.
Okay, I think that would be extremely useful. So Raheel, when I spoke to him,
Sorry.
so I
Opening
pre-interviewed
up.
Raheel, right? And I think that was very helpful. So the minute it goes live, I'll tell you. I can't see the screen yet.
Share screen. Share screen. If you can see the screen, let me know, please.
Okay.
Application window. Share. Do you see that?
Not yet, no. Okay. Nothing's showing up except you and me.
Sorry about that. And put that in the slideshow.
Okay. All right.
Do you see that? Okay, great.
Aha. There we go.
Awesome. So this was your journey that we are talking of. It started off with doing the from eighth grade to FSC in Hassan Abdal Cadet College, and then completing the aerospace engineering. So that was the time frame. After completing the engineering, I was serving in Pakistan Air Force for 10 years, and that was the time that I set on or kind of planned with this journey. I did not know exactly how the dots will connect, but I had a very strong faith that somehow the dots will connect. And that's how it started. I came up with a goal of completing that MIT program in business management from MIT. Like it took so many time. I mean, so many years to get there, but eventually that dream came true. and I got an opportunity to study in Harvard for 2.5 years. We lived in Montreal in Canada, in Toronto area in Canada. And then once that dream came true, that was to complete this MIT program. They select 40 professionals from all around the world. Tesla was actually partnered with the school. And that's how they moved me and my family from Boston to Silicon Valley, where we are based since last 6 years. In the first 2 years, I got an opportunity to work on lead the Model X assembly line for $250 million program. And that's how I could save 11 million for the company. And then it was a startup. And this time for the next 3 years, I was selling to Tesla. And I got an opportunity to grow that company sales from $4 million to $16 million. And currently, since last 1.5 year, I'm coaching small businesses and startups all around the world, but specifically in Silicon Valley as well. So that's what I do. If that gives a picture um, of the journey.
Absolutely, it does. Okay. All right. So tell me something, which is, why did you decide to become a success coach? What was driving that particular mission?
The particular mission, I would say, Summer, that was to help people to to serve humanity. Like in terms of, I started off as a passion. It started off as a passion, but then my family and friends and the other people that I was coaching and serving, like still back in 2006, I can recall that I was one of the early project management professionals in the country in Islamabad. So I used to do a lot of trainings and coaching with so many other people in the industry in different areas. Like somebody would be in construction and telecom had a very good time, and so many other different like high tech industries. So those family and friends, those people, and the industry professionals that I was coaching and serving, there was a lot of feedback from them in sharing with me that I was very effective at doing that. So it started with passion, and then it went to that level of effectiveness that it was getting results for people. And the third is always to push it beyond the that threshold of sustainability. So that's how, like, getting to that level of sustainability, I in for that long journey that I had to plan was that I need some academic milestones to cover. I need to have some acclaim from the industry. I need to be in one of the top areas of the world to be that global persona that I had. So that's how it started. And I would say that that's how the dots started getting connected and one by one. And I'm very lucky and thankful of what I'm doing currently, which is coaching small businesses and startups.
Hmm. So tell us your top three qualities, Raheel. What would you say are your top three qualities?
I would say anyone would tell about myself that I'm very passionate. I'm I'm effective in getting the results that they're looking for. That what do they need? I will get them provided with those metrics and the goals that they're looking for. And I'm very friendly in terms of, like, I make friends very quick,
Are
and
you
that
Aries? Are you
yes.
Aries? Are you Aries?
No,
Your
I'm
zodiac sign. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, as you can tell, I mean, I'm Aries, so look at me. I'm just like, oh, okay, okay. Ah.
oh, awesome.
You're one of the others. No, I'm just kidding. But what zodiac sign are you?
So I'm Virgo.
Ah, okay. All right. Well, Aries are known to be very friendly and stuff, but you're absolutely right. You were very, very friendly. So yeah, okay.
Right,
Top three
right.
qualities.
Yes,
Hmm. Hmm.
exactly. I think, like, going through those learnings was that the important part, like whenever we meet anyone, the purpose is to have a long-term strategic relationship. It's not transactional, should not come out as transactional. And that's what the purpose is of any meeting, of anything that we are trying to do. We have to connect heart to heart. Like, something that I've learned is a heart, mind, heart process, a framework that we use a lot in the coaching that I'm serving those clients. The
Hmm.
first connection is based on heart to heart connection. Then it has to pass through that barrier of mind, that does it make sense? Do the numbers make sense? Will it give us the result or and the output that we're looking for? And then The closing or the conclusion is again based on heart. And these are the things that were helpful for me in terms of my nature to connect with people and to learn from them and help them to serve them actually.
I think that's a great example and something which I keep quoting to different startups as well. Because once you get to a certain age, so I'm close to your age. We already determined that, right? Earlier
I,
in our
I
previous
think
call.
I'm 5 years
Yeah,
senior.
oh, yeah, okay, all right. Well, thank you then. Uh, yeah, Raheel is old. Okay, he's just kidding around. He's 15 years older than me. I'm
Thank
just
you.
kidding. But the thing is, I think when you get to a certain point, I
Right.
think your level of tolerance goes down for
Yes.
people that you don't really want to work with. And I think what is super, super important is to realize what is it which is important for you? What are
Yes.
your values? What are the things that you're not going to sacrifice, regardless of who you're working with, right? And I
Yes.
think so. Normally, this is very interesting because I always, whenever I'm speaking to people, I always talk about the heart mind connect. And if
Yes.
that happens, then I'm willing to go ahead and talk to them more and,
Excellent.
go the entire mile, right? Go whatever help we can provide, however else we can support one another. I'll do that. But the heart mind connect. So that's
Yes.
something which resonates. Yeah, very much so.
Exactly. Heart, mind connect, and then the closing or
And
the
then,
conclusion is
yeah,
again
yeah,
based on heart. It's
yeah, yeah,
heart, mind, heart.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so tell us something else. Tell us your three worst qualities.
I used to be a perfectionist to a level of that I would hold so many things and that it has to be a level of perfection. And this is one of my number one lesson learned that I share with people, that better done than perfect.
Yeah.
So I think that the journey that I shared, Summer, some of those, like, it started off as an engineer. So engineers are very analytical, highly analytical. They will go deep dive into details and to a level of perfection. So that was the
Hmm.
background or the fundamentals where it started off. But
Hmm.
then working in so many other areas, which is like operation management, project management, supply chain management, quality management, lean six sigma, logistics, and especially working in sales. I would say sales was all the way on the other end of the spectrum.
Hmm.
So, like engineering and then sales is mainly based on those heart in regards to understanding the other person and serving them. Not to come up with them that these are the all the things that I have. No,
Hmm.
to understand what the other person is looking for. They have a job to be done. They have a target to be hit, and how best we can help them. So those trainings that I had in sales and those learnings, I think they were very helpful for me to come off that my perfectionist mind and get to better done than perfect. Just get it done. Like there's a
Hmm.
time based in terms of something, that a value that we have to provide to somebody else.
Hmm.
It's time based. Like if I provide the same information to you tomorrow, I mean the time is already gone, and there's no value. Like it, and it reduces from that 90% level of perfection that I wanted to make it to
Yeah.
zero, because like
Yeah.
tomorrow its value is just 0%.
So till the time you were a student, you hadn't cracked this, right? You were the
So
perfectionist student who used to study extra to get that A grade because there's that whole amount of effort that you have to put in to get that A plus or whatever it is versus hey just getting a B and sailing through with a B.
absolutely. So, and that was the mindset at that point of time, like doing that perfection. But now, as we understand, and I'm sharing it with the lot of people that I'm serving.
Hmm.
So we have body, mind, heart, and spirit, and
Hmm.
profession, finances, and social.
Hmm.
So previously in studies, probably there were like few subjects or subject or one particular subject that we are trying to focus in. But currently, like in our life, we have these 7 areas. Like I cannot have an A in my profession. Even if I
Hmm.
push more, I could have like a plus or like a super A. What's that? But like if I am having a B grade or a C in some other dimension, cannot afford that to have.
Hmm. Okay, so we've got a question already that's come in, okay, and it's about investment. So first, let me ask you something. So the startups that you've been coaching and the businesses that you've been helping, have
Yes.
some of them been successful in raising investment?
No. In terms
Okay.
of the small businesses I've been serving, so the I would say the revenue level that I've been serving in small businesses in Silicon Valley are
Hmm.
more mostly around $1 million revenue.
Okay. Hmm.
Startups that I had been serving. So they had been doing some amazing jobs. And this was like at the time, like around February, March of this year, once the
Hmm.
things were moving up. Then because of COVID, it has
Hmm.
not been going the way we wanted. Because of, but there are a lot of teams who are doing an excellent job, and the future looks very bright.
Absolutely. So we'll get back to how the future looks bright,
Yes.
but let's respond to Salman Saber's question. So, okay, the ones that you worked with have not raised investment, but obviously you've been working and you've been living in the Silicon Valley for a long, long time. So the
Yes.
ones who have raised investment, how have they raised investment? And in the meantime, I'm going to ask Salman Saber to put down what his startup does so we can perhaps answer his question a little more
Sure.
accurately. But generally, in your experience, what have you
Yes.
seen? What are the commonalities amongst the startups that successfully raise investment?
Exactly. Okay. So I've been lucky to be part of Open Silicon Valley since last so many years. Since last 6 years, I'm here in Silicon Valley. Open Silicon Valley stands for Organization of Pakistani Entrepreneurs in Silicon Valley, and these are amazing entrepreneurs, like Pakistani American entrepreneurs, who have achieved a mark in the industry. Like many of them, like $1 million mark is very ordinary, like in terms of
Hmm. Yeah.
there are a lot of entrepreneurs that I have had an opportunity to meet crossing the $1 billion line.
Hmm.
Pakistani American entrepreneurs doing impressive job. Exactly.
Hmm.
So, and there's an ecosystem here in terms of angel investors and VCs here. So that's how connecting them with the right folks, with the startups that I'm coaching and serving, we do practice how to pitch, how to come up with that starter pitch, what exactly we are trying to solve, what are the services or the products that we are offering. Like in terms of all those things, I coach them and those make those connections with the people who are trying to
Hmm.
to complete that.
I'm sorry, but we're going to keep doing this, right? Because I think the people who are listening in, I think they deserve to be heard. And Saira, and sometimes they compliment you, so you will need
Thank
to
you
hear
very
that
much.
as well. So Saira is saying that you're the best success coach, and you're her childhood success coach, a man passionate for his work and a good communicator. So we were just talking about communication, right? And the importance of being able to pitch
Yes.
your idea properly. What else
Yeah.
does an investment ready startup need? How is a startup going to convince investors that, okay, invest in me, don't invest, I mean, because there is limited capital at the end of the day. Well, choose me, don't choose someone else. What are they
Yes.
saying? What are they doing which clicks?
So I think that once we are connecting, once we are having that message with the investors, so it's very important that to depict two things: that who is the messenger and what is the message, both. So in terms of messenger, like we cover a little bit of the about that background as well, so that the investment team comes to know about that what is the it's very important about the team, because I mean it's important about the idea, how innovative the idea is in the startup and the business, but
Hmm.
it's more important how well the execution would be, how would be the actions. So that's how we prepare in terms of our startup pitch, that we make it realize to the other people as well that what we have done accomplished already as a startup founder, and what we are trying to do, what's the problem that we are trying to solve through this startup, what are the product services that we are offering, how we are unique and different from the other, how do we add value. Like everything comes back to value.
Hmm.
Like there are some users, there are some clients, some customers, they have a job to be done, they have a target to be hit. How we are helping them, is there, do we have a quality advantage, do we have a cost advantage, do we have an efficiency advantage, or do we have an experience advantage. So that's how it's all about. Everything, especially in the business world, comes back to value, that what's the value that we're offering.
And one of the things that we keep hearing, right, is about, oh, ideas are dime a dozen, it's all about execution. Would you say that's true?
Absolutely, because like ideas are amazing in terms of there could be very innovative ideas, but I would add the perspective here, being a coach myself, that emotions are the medium for success. So how much emotions do I have in that particular idea? Do I have some skin in the game? Will I put my heart and soul into it? That's how that those are all the metrics which make that idea successful. Like for me, like talking about yourself, like self examples are easy and better to explain in terms of, because you've done that. Like a lot of my friends, these are my
Hmm.
loved ones, like, and they were suggesting me something good, and they would say, Raheel, coaching, and that's not a novel idea. It's not something unique in terms of, really, this is a, but it gets to, everything gets back to us. How much
Hmm.
emotions do I have in the game? How much skin do I have in the game? Am I putting my heart and soul and trying to do something really outstanding? That's what
Hmm.
it gets to. Yes, I will agree with the point that you made. This is about the execution.
Hmm. And part of the execution, of course, all of the investors that I've spoken to, they invest in the team. So if the team is
Yes.
good enough, then they'll
Yes.
invest in you. If your team is not solid enough, you don't have a proper team in place, it is going to be more difficult for you to raise investment than if you had a proper team in place. And case in point, please go ahead and look at Varda Inam. I cannot, keep touting her horn
Yes.
enough, okay? Because she's a Pakistani, born and raised in Pakistan, went to
Yes.
university here, has gone on to the US and is doing phenomenal work. But look at how she's expanding her team, and each time she's hiring fantastic people. Another
Yes.
example from Pakistan is Sadape.
Yes.
Again, the kind of people that they're adding onto their team. So, team, and team, right? You have to execute
Absolutely.
whatever
Yes.
your idea may be. So I hope that answers your question, Salman. And we're going to hop over to some of my questions then. All right. So tell me something. In terms of numbers, right? How many people do you think you've impacted so far directly? And then we can talk a little about indirectly.
Thank you for asking that question. Before this, I had not been asked this particular question, and then I was doing that math in terms. So clearly, this would be more than 1,000 people, more than
Awesome.
1,000 people that I've impacted. And since
Directly. So you're coaching.
I'm here for the long haul, and
Yeah.
literally I see this expanding and going to, like, right now it's organic growth, but I see having an exponential growth as well. So absolutely, the purpose is to serve humanity and to help all these people. That's the best I can do.
Okay. Awesome. And indirectly, how many people do you think you've impacted indirectly?
Indirectly would be more than 1,000. Would be like, I not exactly, will not have an idea about the number, but I would
Hmm.
say, we, in our all interaction that we are having, we are influencing people.
Hmm.
If at any day, if I start thinking that I can control people, that's just not possible.
Hmm.
All I can do is influence them, help them in the best possible way, and
Yeah.
then there is automatically, there's an impact. Then it moves the needle, then it gets to the nose next level for having those
Hmm.
metrics, that are we having an impact or not.
So I've got a question. Okay, so as a coach, right, and you're helping people choose their direction, and you're just in a way listening, guiding, letting them come to the conclusions themselves, right? It's different from other forms where you're actually
Yes.
telling them, okay, this is what you need to do here. You're just kind of guiding them along, right? But then there's bound to be frustration at times when people, what they need to do and they're just not doing it, or maybe they're not taking control of their lives. Does that ever frustrate you, or how do you get rid of that particular feeling, or what happens?
Yes. So my job is to ask the right questions
Hmm.
as a coach, and I help them come to a self discovery.
Okay.
If
Hmm.
I tell them that, do this, do this, do this, then probably it would be that I'm one of another bosses for them,
Yeah. Yep.
right? And that doesn't make the impact. So asking the right question, they arrive on that conclusion that what's best for them, what's best for their business and startup, and for
Hmm.
their life overall. And that's the best part, that they
Hmm.
realize it and then they do it. And then it really makes that impact.
Hmm. Let me ask you a difficult question. Okay, so you left a fantastic job to do this, right?
Yes.
And you left it because obviously you were concerned about creating impact and everything. What happens? And of course, you may have done some math as well that, okay, after some time, I would like to earn a decent living. If you haven't thought of it, your family would have thought of it at least, right? At the end of the day, in our culture, the guy is the main bread earner, right? It is how it is. So
Right.
my question to you is, what happens if you're unable to meet that particular target that you've set for yourself? What are you going to do?
We go in the direction that we want to go. we do not even think about the direction that we fear. So I have never thought about it that I will not make it. Why? Why not? What's stopping? It will happen with the will of God. It will happen. Why not? Exactly. Because, and this is something, Samar, these were very transformational learnings that I had early on once I was starting on this, that we have body, mind, heart, and spirit.
Mm.
Profession, finances, and social, they actually follow. But for a lot of people, there's no harmony in regards to like having their passion of the heart, talent of the mind, discipline of body, and conscience of spirit in one direction.
Yeah.
That is something, the internal disharmony is stopping them, was stopping myself to get to my peak potential. And once I have that, once all of those align in the same direction, then there are no limits. Like I've been working with my coaches. I'm the one who is helping ensuring growth for other people and their businesses.
Mm.
So I need to make sure that I'm growing as well.
Mm.
So I've been working with my coaches, and that's how it's actually my own mind that restricts me from doing things. And
Mm.
it's 20% what happens to me and 80% the way I react to it.
Yep.
And the moment I react to it, the moment I understand and take off my self limitations, my
Mm.
limiting beliefs, then sky's the limit. Why? Like
Absolutely. Yeah. You
starting
know,
from those.
it's like the horse, right? So you've got the blinders, at least in
Yeah.
Pakistan, again, you'll see that they've got the blinders and it's a myopic view. And I think that's like, that's why he doesn't look right or left and can't go anywhere else, right? And similarly, as human beings, I think we just have to nurture it. But I'm just going to pick on something that you've said, right? So, and I'm just
Yes.
going to add a little bit of philosophy here.
Yes.
So for the longest time, I used to work for Habib University, and
Yes.
maybe in a way not long enough, right? So if I was in Karachi, I would probably still be linked with the university in one form or another. This
Right.
is a university that I helped put together as well. I was one of the founding team members. And the
Yes.
philosophy behind the university was very beautiful. So I'd like to share it with everybody. It's called
Yes.
Yosin, which is the worth of every human being is in the good that they do or that you do, which is, and good has five different dimensions. So it has to have an appreciation of aesthetics. It has to be done with
Right.
passion, with excellence, with in a spirit of, serving humankind and
Yes.
in the context of mutual respect. And till the time that my yosin is a continuous self-learning, but till the time that my own my career or things, they were not aligned together, I was not happy, right? So
Yes.
I think it's people talk about happiness and what it means to be happy, and I'm going to pose the question back at you. But before I do, I'm just going to reflect for a second that look, you have to get rid of that disconnect, whatever that may be,
Exactly.
and your heart, mind, body, soul, everything has to be, or spirit, like you say, has to be in
Yes.
sync. And if it is, that's when you're going to be happy. You're going to be complete as a person. That's the way God intended you to be anyway, right? And we forget about the
Exactly.
soul. We forget Sometimes we forget about the soul and nurturing the soul,
Yes.
which actually gets nurtured when you are creating impact, right? So anyway,
Yeah.
back to you. Tell us what makes you happy. What is happiness for you?
Very interesting question. And I would say, Summer, happiness is fulfillment, and the two most sustainable ways of achieving that fulfillment, that happiness, are growth and contribution. Growth and contribution. So everything that we talked of, we have those seven dimensions: body, mind, heart, and spirit, profession, finances, and social. Wherever we are, like if I'm a business owner, or if I'm a startup founder, or anyone else, like I need to grow financially to get to the next level. I need to grow intellectually. I need to grow spiritually. I need to grow in my learnings, in my social settings. So everywhere in all those seven dimensions, it's always a growth to raise the bar. Wherever we are, raise the bar. Probably once was one small step at a time, but step by step, keep raising it, and that's the growth. And the second one is contribution. Contribution, helping others, because it's not about myself.
Hmm.
Once I'm doing it for someone else, we become way stronger. It's not about Raheel, it's not about Summer, but what Summer is doing for others makes her very strong and sustainable in what she is trying to accomplish. So, growth and contribution, these are the two sustainable ways of achieving that fulfillment and happiness that we are
Hmm.
trying to do.
I'm sure you've heard this before. You're very articulate. So I think this is very, very helpful for, people who are listening in. We've got a question. You were with Tesla from the early days when they were scaling. What processes from that experience translates into best practices in your coaching career?
Thank you for that question. So actually, my coaching started from career coaching people, and now it is like 100% into business coaching. So I'm coaching businesses, not a lot of career coaching. But that's how it started off. So I think all the milestones that I was lucky to connect and go through, that MIT experience and Harvard, and then working at Tesla. I think Tesla was like a dream job. That was my first job in the US. But I learned a lot in terms of completing. There are few processes, certain processes that we need to go in that job and career process. We need to have some volume to apply to so many. Like I need to go through a lot of learnings. I won't call failures, but I have to go through a lot of learnings to get to a level of Tesla or Apple or Amazon or Google or any of the top employers. To be that level is just like picking that gold medal in Olympics. Like I have to be one of those 500 people. So how do I get there? It's preparation, one step at a time, one step at a time, and then raising the bar, and then being there, and then being, and then connecting with that heart, the heart, mind, heart that we talked of earlier,
Yeah.
to get the bar, to move the needle, so that they understand that we're one of the best out of those hundreds of applicants.
Quick example, right? So just nature teaches you a lot of things. The water which is clean is always flowing, right? So if
Yes.
it stays in one place, it becomes stagnant. There are lots and lots of germs that come out of it, bacteria, whatever, diseases. So similarly, I think, that's what you're saying, right? So you always have to keep pushing the bar ahead. And nobody
Yes.
else is going to tell you, hey, you're at the pinnacle of the peak and that's it, that's it. Now you can relax. And then the only time you should relax is technically when you're in the grave, right? Otherwise you should
Absolutely, because like the moment
keep
we
calm heart.
understand that we have learned a lot, we have achieved enough, then we are done. Like
Yeah.
wherever we are, we need to
Mm,
grow and contribute to
mm,
others.
mm. Okay, let's talk a little about your sessions, right? So the coaching that you do,
Yes.
how do you ensure that your coaching sessions are effective?
Right. So two things we do in terms of making sure that those coaching sessions are effective. The first one being that heart to heart connection that we just talked about. And the second one, having some goals and clear goals and metrics, having some numbers, having those metrics. So in terms of the first one, having the heart to heart connection. So a lot of work we do in the foundations at the outset to connect with the other person. So it's very important for us, both of us, me as a coach and the other person as a client. We need to understand that what's the personality profile that they have. What are their aspirations, their goals, ambitions? What are their values? What are they looking for? What do they understand as success or the metric of their own performance? And we work a lot with our heart to heart connection. So I would say a lot of work in the foundation, just like we don't see the foundation of the building, but there's a lot of work that goes in there. That's what we do to make that heart to heart connection. And the second one, having very clear goals and metrics, like these are sales. I'm fortunate to coach a lot of sales executives, people in their operations. I've had people who were 20 years senior to me in age as well as experience. So I was making sure that I'm very respectful for them. Somebody who is like 20 years senior to my age, and then still we're making that mark, making sure that these coaching sessions and coaching meetings are very effective for them, and it's very helpful.
Hmm. Okay, tell me something else. So tell me, now that it's COVID times and obviously people are going through a tumultuous time as well, there's
Yes.
more need for creativity. Perhaps earlier would you do one-on-one sessions, by the way, earlier on?
Yeah, so a lot of those I was doing in person, one on one.
Because in person it's very different, right? I mean, this virtual world is great, but it doesn't cut it anyway. So yes, so how are you now, adopting new practices involving creativity especially when you're engaging people virtually? What are you doing?
So two things we are doing specifically. One is 100% virtual, and that's the plan to go ahead as well. And the second one being making sure that with that person we are working a lot in their mindset. So two things, especially because of COVID. Previously, I would say 50% of my meetings were virtual, as I'd been coaching people in different time zones in different countries, and that's how it was. Um, so currently, it got very efficient. Like for example, I live in Fremont, California, and then I would drive all the way 1 hour to be in Mountain View, California, and coach a person for 1 hour, and then there would be like 2 hours or more than almost 3 hours in driving. So that was not very productive. So COVID really helped to get to, especially in my model, in terms of making that effectiveness of coaching, that to everyone that it's 100% virtual. And that's the plan to go ahead as well, because like it doesn't make sense for me 3 hours driving and then coaching someone for 1 hour.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, by the time you get there, you're probably, exhausted anyway. Half of your energy is gone, which actually brings me to my next question, which is about
Yes.
energy. So coaching, training, speaking, public speaking, it requires a lot of energy, which you have to transfer over to the other person, to the recipient. So
Yes.
what do you do to make sure that you're stocking up on this energy as well, right? You have to stock up. Do you
Yes.
relax? Do you read? What do you do?
Exactly. So, two things in that area. One is that as we talked of having a heart to heart connection with the client, with the other person, the people that I'm coaching, or a group that I'm coaching. So, in that case, I do not think or did not feel that way, that at any point my energy was drained or I was kind of transferring my energy to them. If we had that heart to heart connection that we start at in our foundations, then in that case we always saw that we had this resonating energy, we had a synergy both ways, and both ways the energy was going up and up and up, like in terms of having that back and forth with people. I think that is something that we feel and experience, and since we are influencing them and they're helping me and I'm helping them, it's the more they help me, the more I can help them. And the energy goes up rather than feeling that energy is being dissipated or drained. And the second thing that we do is that I make sure on my side is that I'm growing. So I work with my coaches. If I'm a person who's helping other people grow and other businesses grow,
Hmm.
I want to make sure that I'm growing
Absolutely.
and I'm doing something really outstanding in my profession.
Hmm.
So I work with my coaches
Hmm.
and they help. I go to them with my blind spots, with my weak areas.
Yeah,
Like they don't have to
absolutely.
discover, and I say, this is an area I
Hmm.
want to get to the next level. This is an
Hmm.
area. And that's the growth mindset. That we talk about our weakness ourselves with the
Hmm.
people, with the role models and the coaches that we have, and then we grow in those areas.
Absolutely, like your coach is your safe space. No? So if you can't ask your coach even how to improve, then I mean that's not the right coach for you, because
Absolutely.
you're not being honest enough. So look, I just looked at the time and I realized, oh my God, we had so many questions still. So let me go into rapid fire mode, okay? So
Sure.
what strategies do you use to stay motivated?
So exactly. So body mind connection is very helpful. And I work in that physiology part, having that language, believing in a story. Like this is the story that I believe in. Here's the story. I believe I see myself at the board of so many different businesses, startups, helping them, serving them. So the more we believe in our own story,
Mhm.
it gives that momentum to us.
Mhm.
It gives us that foundation before someone else starts believing in me. The step number one is for me to believe in myself.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Exactly. So these are all the things, and these are the rituals that we do every day. Like wake up early in the morning, do the prayer, and then think about and plan and work on that mind body connection before going to bed. Specifically, think
Mhm.
about something.
Mhm.
Like last night, once I was going to sleep, I was thinking a lot about how we would do in this meeting,
Yeah,
in this session.
absolutely. Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
I know that's why you didn't show up for the demo day, which would have been like 2 a.m. in the morning, but that makes total sense, right? That you have to plan. Often I've also heard of people, who basically instruct their mind, right, to do some work for them while they're sleeping. So they'll give instructions, they'll ask the
Absolutely.
mind to help out. Okay, there's a certain problem that they're stuck with. It could be personal, it could be professional. Are those some of the strategies that you use sometimes?
Yes, absolutely. We use those strategies with our clients as well. So me being their coach, serving them, we work on our goals, like looking at goal, we paste it all in front of us. We look at that before going to bed, and we look at that early in the morning once we rise early in the morning. Because like looking at that early in the morning helps me to wherever the focus goes, energy flows. So I can put my energy into that. But before going to bed, once I look at that, what happens once we are sleeping? Our subconscious minds keep working. That's the way we connect with infinite intelligence. And that's the way, like a lot of times if I'm coaching a business and we're thinking about trying to come up with a solution for a problem that they're facing, then we on purpose, I think about that again and again. And many of the times, that's the law of attraction. That's the law of achievement. And I get those answers because those, like my knowledge is limited.
Hmm, hmm,
That's how we connect with infinite intelligence, with God,
hmm,
and get those answers.
hmm. Okay, so tell us about your goals, right? So far you mentioned you've impacted 100,000 people directly. What is the goal for 2020? What is the goal for 2021? What is the goal when you're 60, maybe 80?
Yes.
What are you thinking?
Yes. So my goal for next year is I want to be one of the top business coaches in Silicon Valley by end of 2021. That's a
Okay,
goal that I have, that I've written down.
okay.
And working through those goals, absolutely, we have two boys, so a lot of planning for them, for the family, for my parents, for my two brothers, and how to help community, serve community, family, and friends. Like again, it comes back to growth and contribution. So absolutely, wherever I am or wherever the other people are, what I'm serving them, they need to grow to the next level. I need to grow to the next level, grow financially, spiritually, intellectually, body, mind, heart, and spirit, in all those things, and also contribute to others. So that's how uh,
You've
what
got a
we
fan
do.
again. Somebody's saying thank you for the wonderful work you're doing. Open SP is very fortunate to have you as one of their mentors. I completely agree. And yes, we hope to bring you over for Epiphany's startups as well. We've already spoken
Absolutely.
about that. So yes,
Would love
so guys, whoever's listening in, this is good news for you that Raheel is going to be mentoring some of you, or perhaps even coaching some of you.
to.
If the heart connect
Yes.
happens, right? So we
Yes.
can't.
We
Absolutely. We're
already have
one
that
meeting,
connection. It's a
Okay,
long-term strategic relationship.
absolutely. Okay, so another question. So how would you, how would you, in your past life, right, when you look back and stuff, and we were doing some connection of dots, etc., would you have chosen a different path or some different steps? Would you have taken a few different steps to land into this position earlier?
I don't think so. Like I had a faith that the dots will connect. Did not have very clear picture like how, but it did happen. So like I really wanted to complete my aerospace engineering and serve in Pakistan Air Force, which I did
Hmm.
serve for 10 years. And then during that time frame, I would say I'm like a person who understood his goals and passions very
Hmm.
late, like because like I was coaching.
Well, not so late, okay? That's fine. He
Yeah,
keeps
yeah,
insisting he's
exactly.
very old. He's not that old, okay? So,
Exactly. That's the point. Because like in terms of like those 10 years in military, I really loved that. I really enjoyed that.
hmm,
That's an important legacy. These are my buddies, my friends. I still connect with them all the time,
hmm,
like on a daily basis.
hmm,
And then like if I could have that experience and this one that I'm having right now as well, it's it to enjoy the best of both worlds. That's awesome. And I'm
hmm.
very lucky and fortunate to have that.
Yeah, mashallah. So Mukim is one of the startup founders or startup team members, I would say. So he's saying he's listening and learning so much. Thank you for starting the series. Yes, Mukim, I aim to surf, and I'm lucky enough and fortunate enough to have friends who are pitching in as much as possible. So look, tell us something about the accomplishment that you are most proud of.
Yes, and this will connect to again like emotions as the medium for success.
Hmm.
So in my case, and I want to share the slide one more time. Share screen, and I want to share screen for application window. This one. Okay.
Okay.
So
Hmm.
so something that I'm really very blessed with, and I'm thankful for, is that I was putting together this like in one last 1.5 year, how many people and businesses and startup founders and business leaders I've had an opportunity to serve. So I think the one of the top accomplishment, as I'm humbled to say, is to coach and serve people that I'm doing right now. Like going to a school like MIT, being in those top 40 professionals, or working with Tesla, or leading those millions of dollars. Those were just milestones. Like working in academia and industry, those were just the milestones. And the main momentum was to serve people. And that is something I would say that coaching and serving a lot of leaders from all around the world, having clients in US, Canada, Dubai, Pakistan, Saudi, China, Singapore, like across these 7 countries, and serving these top business leaders all around the world in their startups, in their businesses. This is something I would say I'm very humbled and fortunate to share. And this is something that makes me really happy.
Great. See, there you go. I was just saying that I want to, do that. I want to give you an applause, but it's like it's just one person, right? I mean, that's what I don't like about this world because you can't celebrate in person anymore, right? But anyway, and plus all of this mute business,
Those
right?
are
I was
some
in
of the
mute
things
and
that I'm working on and thinking on, and working with a startup as well, like how to scale this. So
yeah.
definitely, I mean that's the number one thing that I'm working on, is like how to scale this, like from one to one to get to one to many, and then
Hmm.
how to achieve scale in this.
Yeah. No, I think those are very important goals, right? That you want to increase
Yes,
your impact that way.
exactly.
So, what is the best piece of advice that you ever received?
The best piece of advice I have received is from my coach, Tony Robbins, which is the success framework. Like understanding these 4 pieces, especially starting from belief. How does the belief connect with potential? The next one. And how to convert that potential into action, and from the action to get to result. So having understanding this framework, which is the success framework, from belief to potential to action to result. Result is the item that somebody looks at, that anyone looks for is result. The most important one is to take action. My mind is like my engineering mind will do all the self doubt and fear of failure and
Hmm.
fear of judgment and fear of rejection and all that analysis paralysis, and getting to my lesson learned, like better done than perfect. I know that I'm not doing 100% perfect or 99 or 95%. I will get that done. The most important one is action. How can I convert my belief and potential into action to get the result? This is the number one, the success framework, the best piece of advice I have received.
Hmm. Is this the same advice that you would like to leave your audience with, or would you like to share a different piece of advice with them?
I would like to add to this one for the audience, and we understand that our audience are more many of the startup founders and these business owners who are trying to grow their businesses and get to the next level. So my suggestion to them would be, number one, understand your passion. Find out what you're really passionate about. That's the passion. The second step is effectiveness. And the third step is sustainability. Passion, identifying what you're really passionate about. Two, effectiveness does not mean that I say something about myself. How other people say how my work has impacted them and has got some results for them, that is effectiveness. So that's what you need to do. All the startup founders, small businesses, that's what I would like to share. understand the passion, to work on the effectiveness, start working on it. If this could be alongside your job, or any business that you're trying to develop or establish like few years down the line, work on that level of effectiveness that other people, your friends and family and the other people, tell you that you're really effective at doing it. And then the third piece, which is sustainability, the final piece is that people should pay us for doing something that we're really passionate about and effective at doing, because this is getting the results to the people that we are serving. So getting through that level of sustainability and converting that passion into a profession should be easy that way.
Okay, that's awesome. I think that was really, really well explained. And I think a lot of times, at least in Pakistan and I think elsewhere as well, in emerging economies, we tend to do a bit of copy pasting as well, right? So somebody else is doing something and we'll get inspired, which is great. You can get inspired, but then we'll want to follow suit without really realizing that, perhaps that comes naturally to them. That is their passion. That's something
Yeah.
which they're really effective at. And maybe that's not us, right? So I think being genuine, being authentic, looking inward, really understanding yourself, all of that, I think, is the journey which is going to help you,
Yes.
form that journey of impact, right? It can't be that
Right.
somebody else. So Raheel is a success coach. It doesn't mean you have to be a success coach. Maybe you're supposed to
Exactly.
be somebody else. Maybe you're supposed to be, I don't know, building hospitals, for instance,
Yes.
right? Maybe that's your calling.
Yes.
So okay, so Raheel, I know that we've got okay, hang in there. So we've got another comment. Zoha, she's saying super informative. I've known you through Arzish and now Summer, but my father knows you from the Air Force.
Wow.
Okay,
That's awesome. Thank you.
all right. Zoha, you may
Appreciate it.
want to mention your father's
Let's
name.
connect on LinkedIn. So I will request all the people. I'm not very active on WhatsApp, but I'm active on LinkedIn, connecting with all the people and replying to their messages. So
Mhm.
let's connect on LinkedIn.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's reconnect with Raheel on LinkedIn. You will see more of him through Epiphany's platform as well, because I think we're going to just, keep hogging your time. Too bad you offered.
Awesome.
I'm just kidding around. Well, thank you so much, Raheel. I know it's super, super, I mean, it's a Saturday morning for you. Thank you for making the time and for talking through, some of these very important ideas, thoughts, philosophy. We discussed a lot. We covered a lot of ground. And hopefully, inshallah, we may have pushed some people along the journey of impact. So thank you very, very much once again.
Thank you very much, Summer. And I wanted to congratulate you as well. You have a very impressive journey that we covered in our meeting earlier. So there's a goal and an ambition that you have, that you're carrying, and you are making a lot of impact with the other people. I want to congratulate you on that. And literally keep up that drive, the passion, and get that to as many people. And you're already doing that. So very impressive.
No, thank you,
I
Raheel.
We have a long-term strategic relationship. So absolutely.
Absolutely. I think the heart, mind, and the heart has reconnected. And
Yes,
I need to reconnect with you anyway next week with some of my questions
yes,
regarding,
absolutely.
the startups and stuff. But thank
Sure,
you so much for making time. And guys, you may feel free to poke Rahi, like you said, on LinkedIn, connect with him over there, send in your questions. He's fantastic. Now you know, and he's friendly, like you said. So, all right then. Okay. Thank you for that.
thank you very much, Samar. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for being with us. You've been wonderful, and we would love to get in touch with you.
Thank you so much. All right, so that was Raheel Bodla, another very, very talented Pakistani, mashallah, mashallah, living in the US, successfully pursuing different careers. And now he's decided on a journey of impact, a greater impact, I would say, where he's decided to become a success coach. So thank you very, very much, Raheel, for joining us. The next Impacting Lives is going to be with Sidra Iqbal. Many of you already know her. That's going to be a week from now, another Saturday, but the timing is different. I believe it is 8 p.m. But anyway, it'll be announced in due course. Thank you very, very much for listening. I do understand it is, Saturday night for most of you in Pakistan. So go ahead, enjoy your evening, watch your Arturuls and, all of the money heist, whatever you guys are watching nowadays. All right then, Khuda Hafiz.